Hi, welcome back. So in this session, this is part 2 of hazardous waste management, and we are going to discuss about rules for the manufacture, use, import, export and storage of hazardous microorganisms, genetically engineered organisms or cells, and that is 1993. Now, the rules for the manufacture, use, import, export and storage of hazardous microorganisms, genetically engineered organisms or cells. Was made by the central government for protecting the environment, nature and health in connection with the application of gene technology and microorganisms. These rules are made applicable for the manufacture, import and storage of microorganisms and gene technological products. It also applies to genetically engineered organisms, microorganisms and cells, and correspondingly to any substances, products, foodstuffs, etc. of which such cells, organisms or tissues form part. These rules shall be applicable in the following specific cases. The first one, sale, offer for sale, storage for the purpose of sale, offer and any kind of having over with or without consideration. Now the second one, exportation and importation of genetically engineered cells or organisms. The third one, production, manufacturing, processing, storage, import, drawing of, packaging and repackaging of the genetically engineered products. Now the fourth one, production, manufacture, etc. of drugs and pharmaceuticals and foodstuffs, distilleries and tanneries, etc., which make use of microorganisms or genetically engineered microorganisms in one way or other. Now, for the purpose of this rule, gene technology means the application of the gene technique called genetic engineering, including self-cloning and deletion as well as cell hybridization. Now, cell hybridization means the formation of live cells with a new combination of genetic material through the fusion of two or more cells by means of methods which do not occur naturally. Now, genetic engineering means the technique by which heritable material which does not usually occur or will not occur naturally in the organism or cell concerned, generated outside the organism or the cell is inserted into the said cell or organism. It shall also mean the formation of a new combination of genetic material by incorporation of a cell into a host cell where they occur naturally, that is self-cloning, as well as modification of an organism or in the cell by deletion and removal of parts of the heritable material. Microorganisms shall include all the bacteria, viruses, fungi, mycoplasma, cell lines, algae, protodons and nematodes indicated in the schedule, and those that have not been presently known to exist in the country or not have been discovered so far. Now, biotechnology means the application of the scientific and engineering principle to the processing of materials by biological agents to produce goods and service. Now, the competent authorities. Under this rule, the following competent authorities are created to carry out the functions prescribed under the rules. The first one is Recombinant DNA Advisory Committee, that is RDAC, Recombinant DNA Advisory Committee. And the second one is Review Committee on Genetic Manipulation, that is RCGM, Review Committee on Genetic Manipulation. Now the third one is Institutional Biosafety Committee, that is IBSC, Institutional Biosafety Committee. Now the fourth one is Genetic Engineering Approval Committee, that is GEAC, Genetic Engineering Approval Committee. Now the fifth one, State Biotechnology Coordination Committee, that is SBCC, State Biotechnology Coordination Committee, SBCC. And the final one, that is the sixth one, that is District Level Biotechnology Committee, DLC, District Level Biotechnology Committee. So we have 6 competent authorities who can make rules under this, who is competent authority under this rule. The first one is Recombinant DNA Advisory Committee. The second is Review Committee on Genetic Manipulation. The third one is Institutional Biosafety Committee. The fourth one is Genetic Engineering Approval Committee. The fifth one is State Biotechnology Coordination Committee. and the sixth one is district level biotechnology committee. Now towards the classification of microorganisms. For the purpose of these rules, microorganisms are genetically engineered organisms. Products of cells are classified under two major heads, that is animal pathogens and plant pests. So, microorganisms are once classified as bacterial agents, fungal agents, parasitic agents, viral, rickettsial, and chlamydial agents, then special categories. So, microorganisms are classified into five, that is bacterial agents, fungal agents, parasitic agents, viral, rickettsial and chlamydial agents, and the fifth category is special categories. And the other two major heads are animal pathogens and plant pests. Now, approval and prohibition. These rules prohibit the import, export, transport, manufacture, process, and use of cell or any hazardous microorganisms or genetically engineered organisms or substance or cells except with the approval of the Genetic Engineering Approval Committee. Now, the penalties. If any order made by a competent authority is not complied with, then the district level committee or the state biotechnology coordination committee may take measures at the expense of the person who is responsible for the damage to the environment, nature, or health. Any violation of these rules will attract punishment prescribed under Section 15 of the Environmental Protection Act of 1986. The Ministry of Environment and Forest notified the manufacture, storage, and import of hazardous chemical rules on 27 November 1989. Under these rules, certain chemicals are designated as hazardous chemicals, and thus rules prescribe the condition for use of these hazardous chemicals in industrial activities and isolated storage. It also regulates the import of hazardous chemicals into India. An occupier who has control of an industry activity in which hazardous chemical is involved shall identify the major accidents, hazards, accidental accidents or hazards, and shall take adequate steps to prevent such major accidents and to limit their consequence to persons and to the environment. The occupier shall also provide the person working on the site information, training, and equipment, including antidotes, which are necessary for ensuring their safety. The occupier is also vested with a responsibility to notify the concerned authority of any major accident occurring on a site or in a pipeline. The occupier shall prepare and keep up to date on site emergency plan detailing how major accidents will be dealt with on the site on which the industrial activity is carried on, and the plan shall include the name of the persons who is responsible for safety on the site and the names of those who are authorized to take action in accordance with the plan in case of an emergency. These rules have conferred a duty on the concerned authority to prepare and keep up to date an adequate off-site emergency plan detailing how emergencies relating to a possible major accident on that site will be dealt with, and in preparing the plan the concerned authority shall consult the occupier and such other person as it may be necessary. These rules make it mandatory for any person responsible for importing hazardous chemicals to provide information pertaining to the name and address of the person receiving the consignment in India, the port of entry in India, mode of transport, the quantity of chemicals imported, and the complete product safety information. The importer of the hazardous chemical shall also ensure that the transport of hazardous chemical from the port to the ultimate destination is strictly in accordance with the Central Motor Vehicles Rules of 1989 framed under the provisions of Motor Vehicles Act 1989. Any violation of these rules will attract the punishment prescribed under Section 15 of the Environmental Protection Act in 1986. So that is the end of section 2 or part 2 of hazardous waste management, and in part 2 we discussed about the hazardous bioorganisms or genetically engineered organisms of cells along with hazardous chemicals rules, and in part 3 we will have hazardous waste management, handling and transboundary movement rules of 2008. Thank you for your support. Like, comment and subscribe. Don't forget to click that bell icon so that you get an update when I upload my next video or a podcast. Thank you and have a nice day.